Hello, and welcome to Come Play With Us, a spooky storytelling podcast. My name is Leela, and I'm joined by my evil twin,
Ruby. We're actually both the evil twin. We're both writers with non-writer day jobs. We believe in the power of great storytelling, so we've invited guests with the challenge of weaving a tale about real-life hauntings and paranormal activities with the sole purpose of scaring the shit out of us.
We'll rate them to see how they've done. Our ratings go a little something like this: scared shitless, some chills, and I think I'll be able to sleep tonight. Hi, everyone. Our guest today is Jacqueline. Jacqueline, you want to introduce yourself? Even though I already said your name?
I have known these precious twins in our prepubescent age since sixth grade, and they moved to New York City, and I moved to New York City for 8.5 years, and I just moved back to Texas. And our friendship, we're still maintaining.
Yes. I like to tell people that we met in middle school and went through puberty together.
I like to tell people that Jacqueline was our first friend when we moved to our new middle school, because we were these nerdy girls that, had a hard time making friends. And Jacqueline was this cool girl that was like, sure, I'll be your friend. And so that's the story I always tell, is when we didn't have any friends, we were all nerdy. Jacqueline, she took a chance on us. And look at us now.
I know. We've come a long way. Yes, so I'm a physician assistant. I work in the hospital here in Dallas. I've been a PA for 9 years now. So time's flown by.
Part of that was in New York.
Part of that, most of that was in New
most
York.
of that.
I started my career in New York and then worked there. And during COVID, I was there. So it was like, I've seen a lot.
And we not so silently always hope that Jacqueline will come back to New York.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
She's only been gone for a
we
few
feel
months.
We feel it though.
I feel it.
So, yeah.
Do you? I know sometimes whenever we would hang out, we would just throw on a scary movie. So do you like scary? Like, do you like horror, or was that just something we forced you to watch with us?
Horror movies, like I love 80s horror movies, like teenage, like the teenager's home alone babysitting the kids. She invites over her boyfriend from school, and they get it on, and there's just so much horniness, angst, teenage angst, and then the bad guy comes, or whoever.
They're punished.
Yeah, he comes
and they're punished for their horniness.
Whether it's Friday the 13th, whether it's Halloween, whether it's Freddy Krueger, like all those movies. But for some reason, I specifically love the 80s. Like, they're kind of cheesy, and I don't know. I feel like they're scarier a little bit. I just love it. I love, like, the way the setup of the story, and then it gets into.
I feel like they just went for it back then.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they almost just like didn't think.
Well, I think because of Halloween, because Halloween was like the late 70s, and that just kicked it off. There's so many like supernatural
I never know if it was Friday the 13th or Halloween. Like, I never know which one of those came first, because Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I think. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like they took so many risks, and they weren't like, I need to think this through, or this needs to be like a thinking person's movie. They were like, no, people are here for sex and violence, and some humor and fear. Let's just give that to them. And they did that, because I do There was like a while back when the Friday the 13th, and this happens a lot when they're marathoning on TV,
Oh, I love it.
and yeah, I love it. I just have it on in the background all day, and I'll just stop by. Oh, someone just got decapitated. Okay.
Like the last time you were over is
Yes.
the Nightmare on Elm Street. Remember, I just had it on the background while we were hanging out, just like having a nice girls hang out, catch up, and then just Freddy Krueger on the
In the
TV on mute.
Yeah, and like just kind of setting the mood. But also, Jacqueline, it's interesting because Leela and I, we talk about our love of horror films so much, and we've known you for like over 20 years now at this point. We're definitely aging ourselves. But I feel like we've never actually like talked about it with you. We just kind of quietly had this understanding.
I know you like horror movies because you never turned down a horror movie to watch with us. But hearing you talk about why and like your preference is really nice.
But aside from that, I don't know if you guys knew, but I used to read a lot of R.L. Stine, Fair Street books.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite. I'll be honest with you, I still kind of read it.
I actually remember that.
Wait, did you watch Fear Street on Netflix?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did. I didn't care too much for it.
It was fine. It was fine. We did Goosebumps, but we also did I loved the Choose Your Own Ending, or you Choose Your Own Adventure, R.L. Stine books. They were so good.
See, we were reading the younger, like it's so telling. We were reading like, you know, the younger, like Goosebumps. She was reading the sexy teens, right? You were reading Fear Street. Did you read Christopher Pike as well? Because he also did
I was
the
about
older.
to say Christopher Pike. Yes.
Mrs. Bertrand in middle school. Mrs. Bertrand, I don't know if you remember, she had like a little.
I remember.
She had like a little bookshelf, and it was just like a free library. You just go, you just grab a book, read it, and bring it back. And she had, I think, a Christopher Pike in there. That was, and I was so shocked by how sexy it was. And I was like,
Yes.
dang. But yeah, you were definitely an advanced horror reader.
Jacqueline
we were still on
them
Goosebumps
before we did, in more ways than one. So I think that makes sense to me. Well, it's weird because we were balancing out reading Goosebumps, like the kiddie stuff, and watching Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon. We were balancing that out with like reading Clive Barker, Stephen King, and watching like scary like murder, like serial killer movies. It's very bizarre childhood.
We just weren't getting the middle, like that was perfectly tailored for us. We were missing out. We were reading either younger or older, but we weren't reading our age.
Yeah,
like,
I think honestly we loved horror, even if it was kiddie stuff, and if it was Are You Afraid of the Dark was not scary, but we were like watching that plus like Tales from the Crypt, which was scary, you know, an adult.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But no, I have a memory of when you first moved to New York and you were staying with us, and I don't know if it was when you were staying with us, but I remember watching World War Z with you and having a blast because we were just cracking up at the crazy zombie because they were hilarious.
I remember that.
They were like unintentionally funny.
Remember the biting one?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, well, we can't hear we can't hear you make the biting one.
Oh, that's.
Oh, okay. I was doing the chomping.
There was this one zombie where like he's in like the CDC, and there's one of them, and she just like is standing against the wall. No, it was a woman. She's standing against the wall, and then she just like bangs herself into the wall for no reason. And Jack was like, "What is she doing?" I don't know why. Like that part, like even if it's on TV and I see a part, I crack up because it's like, what was she doing? She was an ineffective zombie. She was facing the wall, inches away from it, and then she just walked into it repeatedly.
Oh my goodness. I remember this. It's coming back. I actually forgot about that event, but now it's coming back.
So, do you want to tell us what your subject is?
Yes, my subject is a ghost story.
Ooh.
Ooh. Is it real or made up?
It is a real ghost story, and it takes place in South Africa.
Ooh, stamp my passport and take me there.
I know, and I know you've been there.
I wonder if there's going to be any locales that maybe Leela finds familiar or something.
Oh, we'll see.
That's exciting.
All right, so why don't you take it away?
All right. So our story takes place in Uniondale, South Africa. So I'll tell you a little bit about the area. It's a small little town. It's like in the mountain range of Little Karoo in the Western Cape province, South Africa. So, Leela, were you in that area?
We were in Cape Town, and then we kind of did like a little road trip up.
So it's a small little town. In 2011, they had about 4,000 people, the population, so it's really small. Um, so this takes place actually in 1968. So it was Easter weekend, 1968, on April 12th. There was a young lady. Her name was Maria Charlotte Rue, but people called her Ria. And she had just gotten engaged to her fiance, who was Michael Giel. Okay. So they had just gotten engaged. They were loving their newlywed phase. And they were super excited about the wedding. So, a little bit of background. Maria, also known as Ria, she's short, she's dark hair, brunette. Michael Giel, I don't know too much about him. But, anyways, she was sleeping in his Volkswagen Beetle when he was driving, and for some reason, he lost control of the vehicle. So, it overturned and she was killed right at the scene. So, he went on with his life.
Of course.
He, yeah, exactly. He actually, a year later, he married another woman.
That's fast.
And yeah, exactly. And it was like around like a year later, he married another woman. Men, I mean, some of them. But anyways, so the first incident of this ghost sighting was in 1976. So a lot of cars travel on that same route to go to Riverdale. It's a very common route. The most um, talked about scene was in 1980. Okay, there was a man named Andre Coetzee, and he was driving his motorcycle off that same turnoff off that route, and he felt something stand. He felt like a presence around him. He was on a motorcycle. He felt the hairs on his skin kind of stand up, and then he felt like somebody was wrapping their arms around his waist. And he he was like, this is weird. So he sped up, and then on his helmet, he felt three bong bong bong. Somebody smacked him 3 times. He felt it. And
Maria's still pissed.
mm-hmm. And so according to this incident, he told people about, he said he picked up a blonde. It was a blonde chick. So we don't know for sure if it was Maria, but he did feel some kind of presence. Okay. So that was in 1980. But then when he told people, people said they had usually seen a blonde that they pick up and vanishes. That's what some people say. But other people said they've seen a brown-headed girl who they pick up and vanish. So I'll give you more examples of things that have happened.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if like, so this is like the most well-known sighting of potential sighting of Maria, and this is the one that happened in 1980. But there were some that were happening before then.
There was a lady. Okay,
Okay.
this one actually happened Good Friday, so it's Easter weekend, 1973. So there's different sightings. The first
Okay.
true sighting, I want to say, I guess, was in 1973, and she died in 1968. So there was a young man who was driving
Mm-hmm.
on that same route,
Mm-hmm.
and he saw this lady, and he said she had brown hair. She was wearing a long white gown, and he said she didn't really look human. She looked really pale. And she, he saw her on the side of the road, and she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, I need a ride. And can you take me to," I don't know where she wanted to go, but she said she needed a ride. So he's like, "Sure, get in." So she sat in the back seat. And then, call it about a few minutes later, when he's driving, he looks back and she's gone. There's no one in the back seat. And so he brought this up to several people in the area, and they've said, a lot of people have said that that same thing has happened to them, where they pick somebody up, a woman who's wearing a white gown. Some people say she's blonde, some people say she's brown, has brown hair, but they pick her up, and then she goes to the back seat, and then shortly after, she just vanishes.
And is it mostly men who are? Do you know if it's mostly men? Because there seems to be a theme here, especially the guy who got bonked on the head 3 times. There definitely seems to be a theme here. Maria's feeling a certain
From what
way.
I've heard, and from what I've seen, and there's also newspaper reports that I was looking at, it has mostly been men.
There you go. And I wonder if the blonde versus brunette is just almost tapping into, like, maybe if if the guy's like into blondes,
Oh,
or if the guy's into brunettes, like she
oh.
knows she's likely to get picked up. It seems to me like she like wants someone to pick her up and take her somewhere, because it just kind of seems like she died.
Well, she was abandoned.
She was abandoned. Yeah, she was abandoned, and so it's like I feel like she almost changes her
Mm.
hairstyle to appeal to the type of guy who's into that, so she can
Oh.
feel like there's someone who wants to help her or save her, because she doesn't feel that way with Michael.
Want to know something crazy?
Yes.
All right. So, in 1984, Michael Giel tragically died in a car accident.
Okay. So, okay.
And since then, people have not had any recording. Well, they've not had any sightings of Rhea.
She took back what's hers.
Or they say she's at peace. She's at peace now. She got her man. Or, yeah, I don't know. I've heard different things, like she's reunited with her mans.
So, or like those guys were just all mediocre, and she's like, mm. And then when this guy finally died, she's like, okay. She's like, I went through all these mediocre guys. I just wouldn't cut it. And then Michael died.
Well, maybe she was just always searching for him, and then every time someone picked her up, it wasn't him, so she'd disappear, and so now she has him.
What if he picked
Yeah.
her up? What if he? Cause,
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
What if
so
he
so
picked her
you
up?
don't have any details on like where he died. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but
I could do more research. That's actually very, when I saw that, I was like, oh, like, I want to find out more. But they actually made a movie about this.
they did. I want to watch
Yes,
it. What's
and
it called?
me too. It's called Uniondale. I think it's in Afrikaans, maybe. But I
Okay.
was gonna look it up um and get more info about it. But I was like, now I want to know more, like, where did he die? Like,
How? But
how?
also, what's fascinating to me is that imagine like your fiance dies because of you, and in your lifetime, she becomes like a local legend or a myth where people are writing about her. So, because he was alive for 16 years, it looks like, because he died in 84, was it you
He
said?
died in 84 and this was in 68.
So he remained alive for was 16 years, um, that his dead fiance, who died basically because of him, um, I mean, who's to say he maybe hadn't been curious and driven by that stretch to see her? you know?
Yeah, because he had been hearing about the sightings, and maybe he's
I
like,
mean,
maybe I could see her.
because if her
I don't know
first
where
sighting,
exactly he died.
yeah, and also, was he still married when he died? Like, what if, you know?
They said he was.
Okay,
They
so
said he
sounds a
was.
little bit like, did he get a divorce or something?
They
And he's like,
said he
"Where's my
was
first fancy?"
married.
Yeah.
They said he
Let me
was
just try
still
again with the first
married.
one, huh?
But maybe she was like jealous and she's like, I want my man, my man, my man. Like,
Yeah, yeah, she came for him. She's like, he was
she
I
mine
looked
came
it
for
first.
up
him.
and I looked up and saying it's a charming ghost story, and I was like, oh,
No,
so it's cute.
I want like angry. I want an angry ghost. That's what I want. That's my favorite.
But it's very interesting. I actually want to find out more. And I want to find out more about his life, like what he did after she died. Did he end up having kids? Because they got in touch with her family, and her brother is the one that kind of gave them all this information about like what happened to Michael Giel. So, but a lot of people are also saying that because she died while she was sleeping, that she may still think she's in a dream, and she wants to
Wow.
go
Wow.
home. She's trying to go home because I think sometimes, and I'll double check, but I think sometimes she said that she wants to go home, like when people are like, "Oh, where are you headed to?" And she's like, "I want to go. I'm heading home." So when they pick her up.
Interesting. But why
Yeah.
Yeah,
would
imagine
she?
being trapped in that cycle where you're like, just you're in a constant dream and you're not waking up. Like that sounds like a different version of hell.
I know, that would suck. And then she was like, she had this good life. Like she was engaged. They were going to go plan her wedding, and then she was sleeping and she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not even
Ugh.
aware. But I just want to know why she was so mad at the motorcyclist.
Yeah, where she conked him on the head. Well, he
Maybe
thinks
he's going too fast and dangerously.
I think it was because he was going too
It's her
fast.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's her road. Like, she lives there now. That's her home.
Wow, that's so fascinating. Yeah, I'd love to see like, and maybe they've made one, and maybe I don't know, because they have made movies from the perspective of the ghost, but usually the person doesn't know that they're a ghost. You know, I want to see a perspective of a person doesn't know that they're a ghost, but we know that they're a ghost. Like, right? It's usually like a
Oh, I
twist
see.
ending, like with the Sixth Sense or with the others. Like, I'd like to see. Honestly, I would want to see Maria's story play out where we just see her repeat. We see her die in her sleep, and then she wakes up and she's on this road, and she just keeps repeating the cycle of trying to get home, and she's like, yeah, and but like we know she's a ghost, so it's not like a whole twist ending there,
So
Yeah.
that'd
this
be
movie
fascinating.
is categorized as romance. It's Die Spook van Uniondale. And Uniondale, I guess, is the town they use, which is basically translates to the Ghost of Uniondale. But they fictionalize the people, so it's Johan and Marie who are the couple. But
Is
it's
this
like it
what
takes place
network?
30 years after. It's on Amazon for $1.99, so you could use your credits.
My promotional credits, I'm about to
Yeah,
use it.
Yeah.
I have one too, maybe I'll use it too, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm saving. I forget what I'm saving mine for, but you can actually go in and look at your balance, and I have $4.35
I think I have like
to use.
13 that I need to use by September. So,
I accidentally
Yeah, go
let
look at your balance in your account.
I had like $3 that I accidentally let expire, and I was so devastated because I was like, I could have bought like a Kindle, like an ebook, and I think I have one
Yeah,
expiring in
I've
September
done
too.
discount ebooks like that were already discounted, and I just got them even more
um,
discounted.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for that. So it's not on Netflix or anything. It's just on.
Looks like it's just on. I don't know if it's a romance. I don't know if I'm interested if it's a romance.
hmm.
No? Okay. I'm gonna Ruby, I'm gonna text you my rating. So we have a rating that goes from 1 through 3. Are we gonna are we gonna agree on one, or are we gonna
It looks like we both aren't agreeing on it.
so either
So
you change yours or I change mine?
I don't know. We could have an episode where we both don't agree, right?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So then you want to go first?
I'm going to say I'll be able to sleep tonight. So the only reason why I give that score is because I feel bad for Maria, and I'm but I- and so like I'm not scared of her. Like I feel
I
bad for
see.
her. Yeah, like if she was so the guy got bonked, but like everyone else had a rather pleasant experience with her, you know,
Yeah.
except for the guy that got bonked. Like that to me is that's like scary. Like that, that's when these things get scary is when the ghost interacts, the spirit interacts with the person violently. But it's almost like, and I think maybe if we had more details of how Michael died, I
Yes.
think I'd be more scared, but I just more feel bad for her. And personally, I wish that she was still around because now I'd want to go visit South Africa and I'd want to see if I can find her. So the fact that I'd want to seek her out and even give her a ride makes me feel like I'm not scared.
I
Leela,
see.
Leela and I, we are a tough audience, as you know. Like we have to be like just scared. We have to be scared shitless because
But you'll know for your next story
yeah,
what
if
the
you would love
threshold
if
is.
you would love to come back.
I do.
Um, yeah, is that there are things that scare us, and but like I like Marie. I like her and I want to help her and I wish that she was still being seen. But but I will say this is so fascinating that and it's such a classic ghost story, right? Like you always have the woman in white, on the
Mhm.
side of the road. You have the woman that
Pale.
pale, or like the woman that died, and a lot of times it is women, the woman that died in a certain spot, and so now she's seen in this spot. It has the classic makings of like that a classic horror story of the woman that had an early death that now haunts the spot where she died, and then now people are getting these sightings and they're interacting with her. I love that part of it, and I hate that I love that because it makes me not scared. So that's where I stand with my rating. What do you think, Leela?
So Ruby's was the lowest rating of one. Mine was some chills, which is right in the middle. I was creeped out. The motorcycle like the motorcyclist at night. You're kind of out in the elements. You're not like protected and safe in a car. So that definitely creeped me out. I think like even imagining. So no, Ruby, you don't drive that much less at night. You're just when you're driving at night and the roads are all empty and like it can get really creepy. Like the mist, you could get some fog or mist coming in, and like I hate driving at night. I don't care like if it's a really bright lit up place or not. If I'm the only person on the road, I
Mm.
get so creeped out. And so then just thinking about like if I saw a woman on the side of the road, I probably wouldn't pick her up. But just saying, if I did, I'd be like, "You're on your own, scary lady."
Right?
I'll call, the authorities or something. Be like, "There's a woman on the side of the road," and just keep going. But if I did and she disappeared, I mean, it's just that creeped me out. Just thinking about just being on this lonely road. So I would definitely give it a higher rating. Um, but yeah, I think what would have gotten it further up or higher up in rating would be more creepy and scary details.
Okay.
And like more of that sort of unexplainable, um, and even that tidbit about some the theory is like because she was sleeping when she died, she thinks she's still in a dream. I just found that so fascinating, and like that I'm going to be thinking about for a while. Like, oh, that's a good idea for like a
Yeah,
novel or something.
that's what I
But
was thinking.
Mm.
Yeah,
right, I was like, oh,
like a
that's a good idea
film.
for a
Yeah,
novel.
yeah.
You're just stuck in this loop, and you think you're awake the whole time. Um, and just how weird and creepy dreams are. Like, I mean, scientists still don't fully
Disorienting.
understand. Well,
Mm-hmm.
like scientists still don't fully understand the human brain and how it works, and dreams still don't really have. There's theories as to why we dream or how we dream, but there's like no fact. That scientists are still trying to figure it out. But anyway, um, but yeah. So I guess for me, what would make it creepier is like more creepy stories about her.
Mm.
I mean, there is something like you did make a good point, and I haven't really considered this. Is like just you're right. The act of driving at night is creepy, especially if it's like a remote area, which we've all been there where we're driving at night in kind of a remote area, and then just the idea of it's dark, it's remote, and then you like turn this corner and your headlights catch this like white dress,
Mm.
this flash of a woman with the white dress. And then you're like, wait, did I just see you? Did I just see that? Like, and then you turn around and
I mean, when Paul and I
I just got
relocated to
chills again
Ireland,
just saying that.
when Paul and I relocated to Ireland in the latter half of 2020, we stayed in a town called Carlingford, and we would drive between that town and Paul's hometown to see his family. And it was like a 40-minute drive, and some of it was like highway, right? So, and that's fine. You're usually not alone, and there's lights and stuff. But then you turn off the highway, and it was maybe 10, 15 minutes of just winding roads and pitch dark because there are fields and then the odd neighborhood, but they didn't have obnoxious lights like the way they do in Texas. Everything is like lit up, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of times I'd be like, did my headlights just pick something up? And it was just, I was always so on edge when I would be driving at night on my own. There was a point when Paul and I, like, he like stayed in his hometown. And I was driving back to like feed Gizmo or feed the cat or whatever, right? So going back and forth and stuff. Yeah, it was creepy. It was creepy at night. And sometimes it would get foggy.
I would like to amend my rating to some chills because I actually literally felt chills when I mentioned, and I think Jacqueline, you did too. When I mentioned you're driving, it's desolate, it's dark, and then you turn this corner and your headlights catch
a white
dress, just or a woman, and then you're still driving. You turn around and like, did I just see what I thought I saw? But then imagine stopping. And she approaches your car and she sits down and she's back there, and then you're driving, and then you look in the rear view mirror, you turn around and she's completely gone. I feel like my heart would beat in my throat and I'd probably jump out of the car for no reason, even though she's no longer in the car. Like I feel like I would be like,
as vulnerable as I felt being inside of a car with the heat on, and but pitch black, and I have my fog lights on.
You do feel vulnerable when you're driving at night. Yeah. There is, especially again if it's desolate, if it's kind of abandoned.
And I would do that thing where I would look in the back seat, so there's no one hiding in there, right? The urban legend, right? Where the truck is like honking and flashing his light, and the girl is scared. And
I've never watched urban legend movies. Maybe I should watch one.
They're good. They're so 90s. There was a newer one that was on. It was like a later one, I think like a part 2 or part 3.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And it is $3.99, so you can use your credits.
I think I might. I wonder if it's in English or if it's in Dutch or.
No. We're talking about urban. Wait, is this urban legend you're talking about, or the
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
urban legend. The ghost one. That is $1.99 on Amazon.
Okay. I hope they have subtitles.
Oh, they should.
Yeah, or you're just end up picking up a new language.
No, I actually want to watch it. I just want to see. I know, like, the real story is way scarier, but I just want to see how they, like, depicted it into a movie. She was a stunning lady. Beautiful. I saw a picture of her. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, we're gonna add a picture of her to accompany the recording. But yeah, I'm so fascinated because, like I said, this is just has all the makings of a classic ghost story that I want to look it up. I want to look her up and look up that movie. But yeah, and in the meantime, you go watch Urban Legend.
I know, right?
It's great because it's.
Well, you have a choice. It's either Urban Legend for $3.99, or it's Die Spook van Uniondale, and that's $1.99.
Or how about both? Because I got like $15 credit.
Watch them both. Do a double feature. Get some popcorn and some Sour Patch and Sprite.
Yeah,
you like to do that.
And if you want to do Urban Legend, get some Pop Rocks and Coke because they test it out.
That's an Urban Legend. Yeah.
Oh.
But thank you for coming on our podcast and telling us this.
Creeping us out.
A little bit.
I think I'll be thinking about it next time, like I'm in a car.
I mean, you'll be thinking about creepy stuff regardless because it's always like
That's usually what you think.
Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us at podcomplaywithus@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from our listeners. So if you have real life ghost stories or paranormal encounters and you think it'll scare the shit out of us, please send them in. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.